Hello, wrestling fans. I'm Boyd Pierce, and I'm your host for the next 60 minutes. We have a lot of exciting action coming up, some interesting interviews, so we want you to stay with us. Two great matches headline this week's card, signed by matchmaker Grizzly Smith. It'll be the Junkyard Dog in that ring against 454-pound one-man gang. Also from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2 takes on Hacksaw Jim Duggan. All the top stars will be here: Ted DiBiase, Colonel Buck Robley, Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch. So you'll look forward to that. Our guest commentator this week, a man you all know that's really applicable to professional wrestling, whether it's in the ring or out. He brings the credentials as he was 3 times national AAU champion, an amateur grade at Southern Illinois University, and as you all know, former holder of the Louisiana State title and a North American Heavyweight Championship, Bob Roode.
Thank you, Boyd. I couldn't have said that better myself. In the times that I've been with Mid-South Wrestling, I've created a lot of controversy, and there's always been controversy, but nothing quite like something that happened last week, something that prompted Mid-South to promise that a decision would be made, and that's concerning those Mid-South tag titles. And I understand that Bill Watts is going to be here and on film and tell us something about that decision.
Let's watch that right now.
A few months ago on Mid-South Wrestling, Paul Orndorff and Bob Roode planned the most devious, conniving event ever to take a North American championship from Ted DiBiase. And last week, Ted DiBiase apparently had a plot that was foolproof to be sure the Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia lost the Mid-South titles when Mr. Wrestling 2 was scheduled to be the special referee in this tag bout. I was interviewing the so-called Mr. Wrestling 2 about his responsibilities as a referee. Let's watch that now.
I appreciate the fact that I'm respected enough to be able to referee this type of match and be picked to referee this type of match. But like you say, I don't exactly like being a referee. But I think there should be some people in here that can handle this situation and this caliber of a match with these 4 guys. They should be able to handle the situation. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to make sure that the rules are abided by, that nobody's going to break the rules, and there'll be a fair and square winner in this type of match. I can tell you that right now, Bill.
Well, I know everybody wants to know, and you may as well spit it out. There's 2 of you here, and one of you, which one of you?
Let me tell you something, Bill. I heard there was a little man down here posing as Mr. Wrestling 2. I didn't believe that at first. Then I was in a match last time in the Omni. You know how fans travel all over the country? They came up to me and says, Mr. 2, there is another Mr. Wrestling 2 down here posing as you. Well, suddenly then I heard about a tag team combination and titles being at stake. Well, I started putting 2 and 2 together. And then all of a sudden, I get a telegram in my personal box that I get from dates from different parts of the country, from Grizzly Smith. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I never received anything like this. Why? Okay, so I took it upon myself, bought my own plane ticket to come down here and to find out if this was so. Well, okay, it's so. Well, let me tell you something. I don't like anyone posing as me. as you well know, the last man that posed as me doesn't wrestle anymore.
That's right. In Atlanta, Georgia, a couple of years ago, there was an imposter, and you're right. He was run right out of wrestling.
I not only beat him half to death, but unmasked him, and he hasn't wrestled since.
Well, I say one thing, Wrestling 2. I couldn't tell if I looked at the two of you standing across the ring who the real two is, but I say I have never seen.
Wait just a minute, Bill. You know Mr. Wrestling 2. You know why? Mr. Wrestling 2 has never run from a man in his life. I don't run. That one ran. Who is the real Mr. 2?
Well, I'm looking at the cold blue eyes of a man that I've faced across the ring. I know who the real Mr. 2 is after this altercation. Well, looking at those cold steel blue eyes, I knew it was the true Wrestling 2, the man I had faced so many times in competition. And I'm sure Grizzly Smith knew that a plot had been nipped in the bud, a very infamous, devious plot. And we thought then that Wrestling 2 being on the scene, the Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia would get a fair shake. But as we saw later last week, probably the worst ripoff ever since I've been guesting with Boyd Pierce was put on the Dog and Mr. Olympia. Let's watch the final moments of that bout as DiBiase and Duggan seemingly won those tag team titles. I couldn't see whether a tag was made or not. I think Duggan was trying to tag behind Mr. Olympia's back. He was trying to tag DiBiase, but I don't think he made the tag. This was a controversial issue 2 weeks ago, was whether or not there was a legal tag made, but the tape and the film definitely showed there was. But there's a legal tag. DiBiase's legal, but so did Olympia. He tagged Lightning. It's out of control there now. And even Wrestling 2, with all his ability, can't keep these four men from hooking up and going. JYD, oh, the spear. SMU, Duggan all tried to spear the JYD. JYD got off from under, but Mr. Wrestling 2 caught it full in the face. JYD in there by himself as Mr. Olympia had the sleeper, but DiBiase got away from it. There's the phony Wrestling. Loading that boot, Boyd Pierce. That can only be one person. Boyd Pierce is a grappler, and he's going to go in there and try to get JYD. No, he just kicked Wrestling 2 right in the head with that loaded boot. He's counting the fall. Boyd Pierce, that man has to be the grappler. That loaded boot, he kicked Wrestling 2 in the head. Counted the fall. He's getting the titles. He's giving them to Duggan and DiBiase. Well, Grizzly Smith did something I've never seen him do. He refused to recognize the new tag champions last week. He said as matchmaker he would not book them in any match defending those titles until Charlie Lay, the president of Mid-South, made a final decision. A landmark decision has been handed down. Charlie Lay, contacted by long-distance phone and through further investigation, stated that had this been a no disqualification match for the titles, he could not do anything about it. The second thing being that Mr. Wrestling 2, the referee of record, would not reveal his true identity to prove without a shadow of a doubt who the real Mr. 2 was. But upon looking at the film, as far as Charlie Lay was concerned, the referee that was represented as starting the match did not end it. And since it was a special referee in that case, he has done for the first time ever in Mid-South Wrestling, he has reversed the decision and said that the Mid-South Tag Champions are still the Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia. DiBiase and Duggan are not the Mid-South Tag Champions, which again puts us back to where we were 2 weeks ago, at least with one righteous thing happening. The Junkyard Dog and Mr. Olympia are still the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Now, what steps will be taken by DiBiase and Duggan to try to force the Junkyard Dog out of the Mid-South area will only be revealed as we go on. But also, the Junkyard Dog, I'm sure, by this vote of confidence, will be able to muster some schemes and some plans on his own to force Ted DiBiase out of Mid-South. The benefactors will be all the fans and those of us that will watch and see what happens.
I don't believe what I just heard, Boyd Pierce. For the first time in the history of Mid-South sports, they've actually reversed a decision, something that happened here on TV. And you people out there, well as you, Boyd, know that there's times when there's been 12 men on a football field, when there's been basketball fouls that don't get called, and the decision's been allowed to stand. Now, whether I like it or not, Ted DiBiase and Hacksaw Duggan had a good plan there, and it should have been allowed to go through. And, Boyd, I know that except for this Mid-South title, that the Junkyard Dog had lost all his titles, that Louisiana title. And what I'm curious about, and of course the North American heavyweight title to Ted DiBiase, what I'm curious is the Junkyard Dog lost his touch. Is Mid-South protecting him
In
now?
just a minute, I'll step in as host to guest commentator before we get started. You yourself should know better than anybody in the dressing room or the fans in the audience that the Junkyard Dog needs no protection from anybody. Right now, let's go to the ring for the introduction of the opening event. Here's Reeser Bowden.
And this event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 235 pounds from Charlotte, North Carolina, Billy the Star Child Starr. And coming into the ring right now at 282 pounds from Waxahachie, Texas, Captain Redneck, Dick Murdoch.
One faller, 10-minute time limit as Billy Starr in the long black tights. The bell called for by Alfred Neely and his opponent, the ex-Marine Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch. Bob?
Well, Billy Starr's given a lot of weight here, as well as experience, size, a lot of things. Dick Murdoch's held titles all over the world. Billy Starr told me at one time he was a contender for the junior heavyweight champion, which of course is a much lighter weight. And you can see the difference that size is making, that experience. He hasn't had a chance from the get-go, which is smart on Dick Murdoch's part. Captain Redneck, he calls himself. He takes him, smashes his head in that turnbuckle. Now, he's got what you'd call a blitzkrieg. He's been on him from the start of the match. He's pounded him, got him dazed, pounded him around the head and shoulders. Now, taking that wind out of him, a backdrop, now a slam. When you get slammed from that 6'4" man down onto the mat, it takes something out of you. You see Starr, match only a minute. Oh, well, he's coming back a little bit. He's a pugnacious type individual, but I think he's bitten off more than he can chew here. Murdoch has, his defeats in the last 5 years can be counted on just one or two hands. So, again, lightning was striking a bottle for Billy Starr if he could get a victory. Well, Murdoch's going for that brain buster. If he gets it, he's up. He's going to get this one, Boyd, and it's over. Nobody's kicked out of that. The 3 count.
And Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch triumphant as his hands being raised. We'll be back when action continues on Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 235 pounds from Chattanooga, Tennessee, Ron Cheatham. And in the blue corner at 242 pounds, former Mississippi heavyweight champion, current co-holder of the Mid-South Tag Team belts, Mr. Olympia.
The introduction now from the Lookout Mountains of Tennessee, the long purple tight-clad Ron Cheatham as he takes on the popular Mr. Olympia. Rick Pereira is the referee. Bob Roop.
Well, Boyd, I was going to say Mr. Olympia, former Mississippi heavyweight champion, former Mid-South Tag Team champion, but as we just heard, that decision's been reversed, and those titles are, he can still lay claim. Oh, beautiful drop kick, arm drag drop kick, beautiful sequence there. The arm drag the man, it didn't hurt him, just takes him off his feet. Cheatham got up, tried there, oh, beautiful. Swept under that leg, a leg sweep, nice arm drag. Mr. Olympia uses a lot of moves around his opponent, rather than going directly to his strength. He's a powerfully built man, but that's smart. Hit the fringes, pull the legs out from the table. Cheatham, apparently, he was here several months ago, and since that time I noticed he has worked on his conditioning. He seems to be bigger and better shape. We'll see how he does. Olympia again. Oh, I don't know if he caught him. I see he missed with one foot. Yeah, he got him with the other one, though, apparently. Cheatham looks a little bit. No, he's up again, arm drag. So far, Olympia is dictating both the pace and most of the moves in this match. Cheatham is trying to be aggressive, but apparently he is going to reconsider now, which is if you were keeping points on this match, it would be a good thing for him to do. He's not going to beat Mr. Olympia with the attack that he apparently had planned when he came in this match. Sometimes that added weight does you some good, sometimes it doesn't. If you can make it work for you, it doesn't help to have a lot of muscles if you can't use them. Now, he punched him a couple times, and there he left himself wide open to be punched back. I've noticed Olympia isn't a vicious wrestler where he'll start out punching and kicking, but if an opponent takes it to him, he's not going to hesitate. And Cheatham, if he was going to punch him, he should have waited till he had a chance to knock him out. Goes for a full body slam, cover. I doubt if that'll be enough to beat him. Again, he's going for trying to work on that stomach. You can see Olympia has that washboard. Now he's going upper body. Looked like he tried to rake the eyes. I'm sure that mask is some protection. Headlock, Olympia drops down. What agility. He's got him running. Ooh, sleeper. He's put a lot of men away with that hold. Cheatham better get out now if he's going to ever. No, he's got him. He hooked him.
1, 2, 3, and Mr. Olympia catching Ron Cheatham coming off of the ropes, applying that sleeper hold for the victory. The Junkyard Dog versus the one-man gang when we return after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 454 pounds, General Skandor Akbar presents the One-Man Gang. And at 265 pounds from Tennessee, the Junkyard Dog.
General Skandor Akbar presents 454 pounds one-man gang, but the Junkyard Dog says clear the ring. He's ready for action. The people's choice. Undoubtedly, nobody has any doubt in their mind, Bob Roop, and you'll have to agree with that.
Well, nerve is one thing that a man's going to call himself a superstar. He better have it, and apparently he does, because with all the reversals he's had lately, he's taken on a man that put Ernie Ladd, Dick Murdoch, Ted DiBiase, Mike George is still out of wrestling, from what I understand, in this one-man gang, the biggest and one of the baddest in the General's Army. And Junkyard Dog's taking him on. I guess he's not ducking and not hiding. I have to hand it to him. Oh, that big forearm. Oh, clothesline. He goes in the same motion for that forearm. Either one of them are effective. Oh, a slam, 400 pounds. Oh, the thumper. Beautiful move. Thumped him like he was nothing. One hand's the General in there. This man is strong. Slams him.
That's
He's
Killer
got them
Khan.
both. Killer Khan in the ring now. Junkyard Dog's taking on the whole army.
He wasn't in the ring, but the Junkyard Dog brought him inside.
Brought him in himself. He wants these men. Oh, that big elbow I was talking about. He goes for it, slams him. Again, the one-man gang, the thumper. Unbelievable. Gets a three. Unbelievable, Boyd Pierce.
You talk about professional wrestling, the world's most exciting professional sport. There he is, the Junkyard Dog, as he downed not only the one-man gang, but Skandor Akbar and Killer Khan. We'll be back with more action when we return after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
Well, Boyd, you know, Ted DiBiase and Dick Murdoch have been closely tied. Dick Murdoch takes credit for actually breaking Ted DiBiase into professional wrestling, but I understand that their former friendship has turned into some pretty bad blood, and I guess it was just 2 weeks ago right here on Mid-South that something happened that really brought that to a boil. Is that right?
That's right, and we're going to watch that confrontation right now, then go directly to the ring for the next match. And spilling outside the ring, Ted DiBiase to his aid, Hacksaw Duggan. Murdoch moves the referee Alfred Neely out of the way and uses his foot. Now, Duggan on this side. In comes the champion, Ted DiBiase, with a double chop to the back of the base of the neck.
Just signs of a great wrestler, Boyd Pierce. I'm very, very impressed with Ted DiBiase. You know, he took everything that Dick Murdoch had to offer. Murdoch was working intently on that knee. DiBiase has made a tremendous comeback. Here it goes. Atomic drop. Cape Canaveral, whatever.
Murdoch rolled him up. And Duggan was in the wrong place. And they collided, Dick Murdoch and Hacksaw Duggan, who had stepped up on the apron of the ring.
Getting interesting, Boyd Pierce. Oh, that DiBiase never stops. He never quits. What a great North American champion. This could be it.
There goes Murdoch.
I believe the referee is down, Boyd Pierce.
No referee in the ring.
I believe
Skandar
the referee's
Akbar.
down.
The explosion on the far side must have took him out onto the concrete floor, away from our view. Now to the midsection. Murdoch, an uppercut, and down goes the champion, DiBiase. No referee in the ring. Here's Duggan once more, trying to regain the apron. He has no business being out here. Crashing down, Ted DiBiase. The fans solidly behind, shouting their encouragement to Dick Murdoch.
Brainbuster, brainbuster.
Has a spear by Hacksaw Duggan. Alfred Neely regains the ring and calls what he sees.
A very courageous win for Ted DiBiase.
And now a non-title event for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 255 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, the North American heavyweight champion, Ted DiBiase. At 222 pounds from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner.
A non-title match. North American heavyweight title holder from Omaha, Ted DiBiase, against the man in the maroon-clad tights, Tim Horner. But the fans here, Bob Roop, are still smoldering and still hollering. They came to their feet as one in unison when the Junkyard Dog not only put the thump and the slam on 454-pound one-man gang, but General Skandar Akbar came to the ring apron. Also, Killer Khan, and you saw simultaneously as the Junkyard Dog slammed them in addition to the one-man gang, defeated and really had his hand raised in victory, and the fans went crazy. Definitely the people's choice, a one-man gang, whether you, who likes it, and I like it.
Well, I got to give him credit, Boyd. I mean, that was a superb, a fantastic performance. I mean, that man has got not only strength but guts. He pulled those men in the ring. He wanted them, and again, I don't like it, but I got to hand it to him. The man is great. He deserves everything he's got. And with Ted DiBiase here, you know, he's been showing some brains. Now, this young wrestler going against him, Tim Horner, he's trying to make lightning strike for him too, because he's going against a man that's held a North American champion as long as anybody 3 different times. And again, ooh, he caught Ted. Looked like Ted was trying for some sort of suplex. Horner hooked a leg and got his weight, head scissors. Nice move. He's got, Ted DiBiase's got so much size. Ooh, he went to the well once too often there.
And you saw that throat come across that steel cable on the top strand of rope.
Well, DiBiase's 6'4", 270 pounds, a big, strong man. Horner's about 220, 210. And DiBiase once warned what he was going to do. He caught him up there and held him. Now he's taking it to him. And again, a North American champion. He's got people after him everywhere, and he's got millions and millions of people that watch this program are watching him, like him or dislike him. Again, people like Dick Murdoch after him. I don't blame Murdoch for being hot after watching that film. But again, you better have somebody watch. Ooh, power slam. Power slam. Now he's got him beat right there.
Going for the figure 4 if he can lock it in.
Well, this is really unnecessary, but I kind of admire him for doing it because you might as well make it definite.
And he does.
And nothing's more definite than a man giving up.
Ted DiBiase, the North American heavyweight champion, the victor. The big match coming up, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Mr. Wrestling 2, after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 270 pounds from New York City, Hacksaw Duggan. And in the blue corner at 236 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, a former North American heavyweight champion, Mr. Wrestling 2.
This event, the big man from New York State, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who's on the Suicide Squad and on the specialty teams for the SMU Mustangs in the Southwest Conference in college, and in the Atlanta Falcons in pro football. Been talking about Atlanta. His opponent hails from that city and that state of Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2. Bob?
Well, it was in Atlanta about 3 years ago, 1978-79, that Mr. Wrestling beat Ernie Ladd for the North American title. He held it for about a year. He's known all over the world. His reputation speaks for himself. You know, these two men are indirectly involved from last week. Mr. Wrestling 2 was the referee in that Mid-South Tag title match. Oh, he went for that knee there. That knee lift that has won probably hundreds and hundreds of matches for him, and you got to give Duggan credit. He wasn't suicidal enough to go into that knee. He definitely rolled right away from it, which showed some smarts on his part. You know, this man is not just a dumb animal. He's got some great credentials, like being kicked out of the pro football, but he's not just a dummy. He likes to hurt people. He likes to use his own body to do it. He doesn't mind. You can see he's taped up. He's got knee braces on, and he doesn't mind getting hurt as long as somebody else is there with him. But he's not stupid, and I don't think Ted DiBiase would want him as a partner if he didn't have a calculating kind of a brain. And he is double tough. Now again, Wrestling 2 using that experience. It's got it. Ooh, went for it again. Now Duggan is definitely watching out for one move, you can see.
Well, Mr. Wrestling 2 going for that power knee lift, and at the same time, Jim Duggan wisely once again as Hacksaw comes out to the ring for a moment's respite.
Well, he's having to regroup and sort of reorganize his plan of attack, because what he's tried so far has not worked. And a lot of competitors that have gone against Mr. Wrestling 2 have found out that that is exactly the situation. He's for example here, with very little stress to him, because your legs are much, much stronger than your arms in most cases. He's using his legs to put pressure around the chest, thorax, throat, face, cut off the breathing in several different ways, cut off the circulation. Duggan came out of that pretty easy. Well, Wrestling 2 countered that again, comes up with an arm lock again now. He's bringing his weight to bear on Duggan. He's making him carry the two of them. And he is putting pressure on that shoulder joint, constricting the chest area where breathing's a little more difficult. If you can get a man tired and blowed up, he's much easier to beat. Duggan, from my viewpoint, is giving him too much warning about what he's going to do. He's too obvious with his moves. And he shows his temper there, that big foot stomp that he seems to have trademarked. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing with it, but again, Wrestling 2 on the offensive, very aggressive wrestler. Now again, he's punishing the extremities. He was working on the head, he went to an arm, now he's working on a leg. That 52-inch chest that Hacksaw Duggan has is probably not a smart place to attack. So he's working on the legs, he's weakening the man, looking for an opening, looking for some place. Again, with those knees heavily padded, those knee pads, that far leg, he looks like a pulled hamstring, a adductor muscle of some kind. And he's smart to work on an area. If a man's hurt, unfortunately, he should not telegraph it. Now, again, he got too close. Duggan went after that mask, and I know from my own experience, you go after that mask on Wrestling 2, it's like knocking over a hornet's nest. He just kicks it into high gear. That's been his trademark, and I don't think I think you're going to have to probably have him totally unconscious before you do anything like taking that mask off. A lot of people have tried, and I don't know if anybody's been successful. Now, again, he's working on the upper body. He's got a head and an arm this time, a cross lever, putting the pressure on, making Duggan carry him. He's not carrying his weight at all. He's got Duggan bent over where, again, breathing is much more difficult, making him carry him. Very, very smart. Intelligent wrestler, experienced. His reputation was not earned by any flukes. He's a tough competitor. I look forward to beating him sometime real soon. Well, I say that. He's a hard man to beat, but of course, everybody can be beaten. No unbeatables. Junkyard Dog just showed that. He beat 3 men. Took the General's Army and put him in a complete retreat, a rout, you might say. Duggan now on the offensive. He got a chance to use his power. Caught him with a big stomp. Punch before that to the breadbasket. He's a powerful man. And again, he likes to beat up people. Goes for a press off the slam body press. Wrestling 2's out. I don't think he even got a 1 count. He's back on his feet. Backing up, recuperating. Getting into the ropes. Smart wrestler, very smart. Now, Duggan gave him too much room. Wrestling 2 is fighting fire for fire a little bit there. A couple punches. Well, he set Duggan up for that one. Reversed. Tossed on the ropes. A backdrop at 280 pounds. Ooh, that knee lift. He caught him. That power lift took him completely out of the ring. Duggan's probably wondering where he is right now. I felt that knee lift myself. And
well, earlier, Bob, you saw that Duggan saw him coming with it and took himself out of the ring. That time, Wrestling 2 connected and took Duggan out himself.
Ted DiBiase coming down, offers some advice, some sort of comfort. Duggan needs something right now. And pushing him back in the ring. Helping hand there, I guess you'd say. DiBiase cheerleader. DiBiase, we can't see there. Dick Murdoch. Dick Murdoch's down there now. I was talking about the bad blood between these two. Chase DiBiase in the ring, a spear. Duggan speared his partner.
There's a dynamic knee lift. Fast and furious and complete.
1, 2, 3. It backfired.
Mr. Wrestling 2. There you see his hands raised in victory, showing the 2 and the fans here are returning it 2-2-2. He's the victor. We'll be back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
This event is for 1 fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, at 244 pounds from parts unknown, the Grappler. And in the blue corner, at 238 pounds from New York City, Vinny Romeo.
Vinny Romeo being introduced, and as you heard earlier, the cheers that were reserved for the Junkyard Dog and Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch, Mr. Wrestling 2, turned to jeers as the introduction of the masked grappler, Bob.
Well, there's some conjecture that Grappler was the double for Wrestling 2 that was trying to step in there and be the referee in that special match. Vinny Romeo showing some real agility here, and the Grappler also. Grappler's his reputation as the Grappler speaks for itself. But you know, with masked wrestlers, it's hard to tell. He's built. He and the Wrestling 2 that was out here a minute ago are built very similar. They're compactly built, approximately 6 feet tall. Both of them wear masks. So, I mean, it's kind of hard, from my point of view, to say whether to take one man's word or the other.
And they have similar moves inside that ring.
Well, they both know their way around a wrestling ring, that's for sure. The Grappler, former North American champion, Mississippi State champion, he held them both at the same time, and he is double tough. I've seen him tell you there, elbow to the thorax area of Vinny Romeo. Vinny's looking real good. Vinny Romeo, looks like he's been training hard, but there's no substitute. It doesn't matter what kind of body or what kind of muscles or anything else you have if you don't know how to use them, and experience can only be gained in that ring, and something the Grappler has. Vinny Romeo is lacking in experience. He's not lacking in heart, but as far as that actual ring time, that being in the pit, being down there in the pit, in the oven, where the heat is, he doesn't have the time of this Grappler. And again, that Grappler He'll attack you from the top to the bottom. He's got so many moves. If something doesn't work, he'll try something else. If that doesn't work, he'll try something else. If nothing works, he'll go back and start over again. He's got a lot of desire to win his matches. Very proud man. A lot of controversy about a loaded boot. You could look at it another way if he is a handicapped wrestler. Ooh, Vinny Romeo coming back there, showing some fire. Ooh, you can hear those clear over here. He stung him. Beautiful drop kick. Took him clean off his feet. Going for another one, going for something. Backdrop. Oh, beautiful move on the grappler. Now again, this man recuperates. He's like a bulldog. He comes, oh, beautiful move. He dropped him flat on the back of, what's this? That's wrestling 2. That's the exact same motion as Mr. Wrestler number 2. He gets a 3 count. Wait a minute now. Now what's this? Wrestling 2 interfering in his match? No, Wrestling 2, Boyd seems to be saying, now who is who here? You saw that the grappler, when he held his arms up and hit him with that power knee lift, both men can use this power knee lift, but in this case, the grappler does seem to be leaving the area and still in the air.
The grappler left with the victory. Colonel Buck Robley in action when we return after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event is for 1 fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 238 pounds, from Charlotte, North Carolina, Tony Anthony. And in the blue corner, at 242 pounds, from Amarillo, Texas, Buckley Christopher George Robley III.
Tony Anthony on the black tights against the man with the yellow shirt who says, nobody calls me yellow. That's unmistakably Colonel Buck Robley. Bob Roop, you saw the masked grappler make a swift knee, or take it right to Vinny Romeo and gain the victory, but you also saw the same grappler make a swift exit when Mr. Wrestling came upon the ring for the challenge.
Well, that's true, Boyd. You know, I wish the 100 million people or so that watch this program had a chance to sit where I'm sitting and see this action up close. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been around wrestling programs all over the world. I'm talking about Japan, the Far East, and a lot of places, and I see things here on Mid-South Sports that just fascinate me, and I've been around a long time. Back to the ring, Buck Robley again. Nobody called me yellow. Tony Anthony, a young man on the way up. He just returned from South Africa where he beat legendary Jan Wilkins over there and so had a very triumphant run in South Africa. But Buck Robley, very, very vicious. He's got a lot of great credentials, really. He's vicious, backstabber, backbiting, nasty, do anything to win. His only weak point, I would say, is that he seems to be wanting people to like him, but that still doesn't take away from him being a tough opponent. And if I beat a man like Buck Robley, believe me, it's one that goes down in my books because it means something. And in this case, now now, the old Buck Robley would not give Tony Anthony a chance like that. He raised his hands. He would have been punching his brains out. It cost him, too. He's taken 3 punches, elbow to the back of the thorax, and it's actually the man got a cover on him, which it racks up points for Anthony as far as being a competitor. But Robley showing that he's tough. He's just a tough guy. He got up off the floor, and it's kind of with attitude like this guy made him mad, it looks like, because he's not showing the effects of those punches and those things that he took a minute ago. He's got him going now, kind for kind, the backdrop. Ooh! Oh, he kicked him right in the head. Now that's the old Buck Robley. Ooh, drops another forearm elbow right across the man's face. That's all she wrote. 1, 2, 3. That's Buck Robley.
Buck Robley, the colonel in the yellow shirt, nobody calls me yellow, proved it once again as he gained the victory. Our time is just about gone. We want to tell you that next week, General Skandor Akbar will not be the manager. He'll be the wrestler. He'll be inside that ring. Also, Kelly Kaniski, who was here some 2 years ago, will be back on Mid-South Wrestling next week. To our guest commentator, Bob Roop, thank you so much for your expert expertise and your commentary. And to you wrestling fans, oftentimes we don't say thank you. We appreciate you all the time, though, and we ask you to watch with us next week. Until then, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye, everybody, for Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.